Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. RISC-V International is really excited to put on this mentorship program. So the main reason we love this is that it's an opportunity for our advanced professionals in RISC-V to be teachers for the future. Engineers that are going to be running RISC-V. So it's a really cool opportunity for people to gain learning knowledge, for our mentors to gain teaching experience, and to really move forward projects that support the broader ecosystem. So that's why we really like doing this program. The today's meeting is really short. So basically how it'll go is I'll explain some really basic details about the program, how it works. We'll allow questions throughout. And then I'll sort of talk a little bit about what I've noticed because I've been a mentor 2 times in 2023. So just some things I noticed when you're creating your application, things that I think you should be looking out for. And then we'll let each of the mentors that are going to be mentors for the spring 2024 time period to come on, talk a little bit about what they're looking for in a mentee. And then you'll be able to ask them questions. So this is a really good opportunity. This is the first time we've done this. So, as I've said, feel free to just put all your questions and information in the chat. I'll go through and answer them at the end. You can also come on screen if you're interested in that. Just let me know. You should be able to raise your hand. The chat is open for everyone. Um, if you scroll all the way to the top, you should be able to see the links I put in, which are the link to the mentorship program, as well as the link to our careers page, which is where you can see all 3 of the mentorships that we have this year. We are doing 3 mentorships for the spring edition. So just know that. So I'm just going to share my screen and sort of show you so we can walk through this together. So I'm going to put the link in here again for you. So here is the link for our mentorship page. This is where you can find all information. I suggest that you bookmark this page, go to it often, pay attention to the deadlines and the days, because this is where I put all information. There's some great videos in here. You can see the showcase from, I believe this is 2022 showcase. That shows all the projects we had in the 2022 year, with videos from each of those individuals that were either a mentee or a mentor. So as you can see, for the spring session, applications are open from now until February 6th. So that's just end of day Pacific time, February 6th. And then how it goes after that. Oh, sorry, let me mention this, that we are going to do a coding challenge for all 3 mentorships. They're not all listed in there yet, but I will get them listed in there shortly. And once they are, I'm going to send everyone an email that just says, don't forget to do the coding challenge. Now, there are 3 things required on all mentorships. That's a resume, a cover letter, and the coding challenge. The coding challenge is, they're different for each one, and essentially is a way for you to showcase your skills. So I'll talk more about the resume and cover letter here in a minute. But those are the deadlines. Once it closes on February 6th, that's when our mentors will then go in and review those projects. We will then notify people that were selected. I believe it's February 16th. We don't post that date publicly just because it's flexible. But if you were selected, we will notify you around the 16th and let you know that you are selected. And then we give you some time to say, yes, I want to do the project before we launch it. And then you do the paperwork. So if you're not notified by February 16th, that doesn't mean that you didn't get selected. What that means is we may have already offered it to one person, and then it will potentially go to the next person if it's declined by that person. And the reasons for that someone would decline are they also got an offer on another mentorship, or they've realized their schoolwork is too much, and so on and so forth. So our mentorships are 20 to 30 hours per week. We call it part-time, so that you can do it in conjunction with school or anything else that you're working on in your life. Um, so it is 20 to 30 hours a week. You can be anywhere in the world. Your mentor will be anywhere in the world, and you can communicate however works for you all. I can create a Slack channel so you can communicate there. That's how I've been communicating with my mentees. Is we have a Slack channel, and then we have a weekly meeting where we check in. So you really are working on your own, but able to ask your mentor questions or ask for feedback, because this really is a learning experience. It's a learning experience, but you also have the basic level. You need to have the basic level knowledge to be able to be successful in those roles, and that's why we've listed in those job descriptions what you need to have to be successful. I do want to mention that these are paid mentorships. RISC-V International pays these stipends. The stipend amount depends on where you live. Um, and so that's one of the biggest things to know, is that it depends on where you live based on how much the cost is. And I believe you can see those stipend amounts on this link that I just clicked on. Yes. So if you go here, let's see. Mentee stipends. So the mentor does not get paid. So that's something to consider, is that these mentors are putting their their energy and their time into this for the good of the community. So you can go down here and click amounts, and then that will show you the full amount. So again, that was on our website from internship information. So if you go to that link, you'll also get a lot of information. If you're having problems uploading things into LFX or any issues, you can request tickets if you're having an issue within that. Um, if there's people in here that are interested in being a mentor, I think one of the coolest things I've experienced is a lot of people that have been mentees have then gone on to be a mentor, which is a really cool way to give back to the community. You can read this on your own time, but this shows the benefits the mentees and the mentors. And then here at the bottom, you can see an interview with a mentor talking about a program that they worked on and how that's continuing to grow. This video right here is if you're interested in being a mentor. That's a good thing to watch, is that one. Let me stop and see if there's any questions before I move on. Are you allowed to join in a membership if you're working full time? You mean a mentorship? So yes, you can if you are able to commit those 20 to 30 hours a week. It can be on weekends and things like that. So yeah, we don't say that you can't if you have a job. Um, oh, great, you were at RISC-V Summit. Yeah, it's definitely a great community to be a part of. How are IP managed by the program? Diego, can you expand a little bit on how is IP managed by the program? Which program are you referring to, LFX or each of the individual ones? How many mentees are typically in a cohort? Great question. Thank you for bringing that up. So there's always one paid mentee, and then we offer it to two other mentees to do the program unpaid. And this depends on if the mentor themselves feels comfortable having that many mentees, because it is a lot, right, to have that many people working on your project. So the number of mentees is up to the mentor themselves, but typically we recommend 2 to 3. Again, the first person being paid and the second two being unpaid. Um, for Richard, he says, I'm taking a postgraduate course. Can I do this and double up in my school project? I'm not sure what your school project is, because each of the mentorships is very specific in what they're doing. So I think you need to check if that was the same. Oh, intellectual property for the mentorship. Yeah. So the intellectual property is owned by the project itself. So RISC-V International, but everything does go into the ecosystem. So it's open to be used. Yes, there's a list of projects. Let me grab. Um, these are the three that are happening this spring. So the program runs from March to May. Yep, March to May this year. And then, as you can see, we've already listed that we're going to have summer ones. And I've already, or am already talking to a number of people who want to do that. So I don't want to take up too much of our time. So I will go really quickly through some of the things that I noticed when I was a mentor in going through the projects, the individuals that submitted things, their cover letter and resume. I reviewed hundreds, and so just some things I wanted to make sure. Um, First and foremost, I know that when I have been doing cover letters in the past, it's always started with like to whom it may concern, unless you know the person's name. Um, I think it's important to do that, especially if you know their name. That shows that you're paying attention to the project. So starting off with that, one of the things I noticed the most, and I'm sure this is written down, and I feel like I was taught this way also, is a lot of people started with, I learned about this resume, or I learned about this job from this website. That's kind of irrelevant. I don't need to know where you found out about the internship. What I really want to know in the first couple of sentences is, what skills do you have that will benefit the project that I put forward? Right? Like, what are you going to do like, what experience do you have that is going to make you a success in this thing? So, really focus on that. A cover letter doesn't need to be long, right? Like, don't use AI. I noticed that a lot. So explain immediately how your experience is relevant to the project and how you'll be able to contribute in a meaningful way. That should be your first paragraph. Provide hyperlinks and samples of your work in your resume and cover letter. Consider doing something like a portfolio that shows samples of your work. Again, link this in the resume and cover letter. In the interview, speak slowly, show your personality. And something that I noticed that I didn't think would be as big of a thing for me as it was were the people that sent thank you emails after interviews. I really appreciated that. And then they often followed up with, this is more information that we spoke about. All right. Thanks for answering some of the questions in the chat. Which webinar was able to give? No. So I would like to know if RISC-V International is able to give an offer to mentees in order for them to fulfill OPT requirements from the U.S. government. I'm not sure what OPT is, but I'm guessing that is a visa. No, we are not hiring on visa. This is a short-term, 3-month contract from the country that you live in, and there's no visa. There's nothing like that. You'll need to pay taxes or whatever in your own country based on the amount of money you're making from us. So there's no options for visas or anything like that. Um, Measurement is decided after the mentorship process. Correct. So basically, you will fill out your application within the program on February 7th. We will start to review those. Basically, I go through first and I make sure that you did your resume, your cover letter, and you completed the coding challenge. And then I submit to the mentors. These are the people that that completed the requirements. So these are the people you should be looking at. If you don't submit a resume or a cover letter or do the coding challenge, but you do two of the three, you're not going to move on to the next round. You need to do all three of those in order to be even seen and reviewed by the mentors. I am not sure. Each coding challenge is different, so you have to look at each of the coding challenges and see what best fits. How does the process go for mentees with no pay? So the mentees with no pay essentially will be in the same project. They have the same experience. they receive at the end, just like all the mentees do, a badge that can go on their social media profiles. I see it on LinkedIn the most. So you'll get the badge, but you just don't get the pay. You have the exact same opportunity, but RISC-V International is only able to cover the cost of one individual. But we wanted to open up the opportunity to more, which is why we're allowing more people to do it unpaid. It's not always, people don't always say yes to doing that. So it's really up to you. Challenge. I love all the questions. You should, you can, for the cover letter, who you address it to, it can either be to whom it may concern, or you can see on the projects, not yet, I'm still getting them all uploaded in, but you will be able to see who the mentor themselves is by early next week at the latest. I'm just working with the technical team to fix something that's happening on the back end. Will any certifications be given at the end, with or without pay? What do you mean by certification? So it's called a Credly badge. You've probably seen them there. It's just like a badge that you put on your social media, and that is essentially a certification showing that you completed that. If you need some kind of a letter for your school, I can create that for you. That's not a problem. That shows that you completed this program. No problem. Yes, you can apply for multiple mentorships. I think you can apply for 3. This is why I was saying earlier that sometimes not everyone is given the immediate access to that they may not accept the mentorship right away because they might want to see if they receive the other mentorship. So that's just something to know. Okay, keep the questions coming. I'm going to go ahead and invite. Paul's at the top of my list. So Paul, I'll invite you to come on and talk a little bit about your mentorship program, and then people can ask questions.
As I come out of the light here.
I know you're like a blur.
Hi, everybody. I know we don't have much time, so I'll go really quickly. It's really good to see all of the representation here. I've counted at least by 5 or 10 different countries. So I won't talk too much about my mentor program. Hopefully you can read about it on the site. I think it'll be fun and interesting, and you'll learn some of the, the elemental concepts of the RISC-V ecosystem from the standpoint of kind of really focusing on the assembly language constructs. But there's like web development and OCaml if you want to learn that new to me language. But I did want to go through a few tips with respect to what I will probably be looking for in applications. And I wrote down a list. That's why I'm kind of looking up here. The first thing I put down was honesty. I think it's really important to be honest and upfront with your skills that you have and your experiences, and because you might be surprised how easy it is to detect dishonesty in a resume. I saw kind of a bad resume recently, so this is kind of high on my list. I would also be sure to pay attention to the details. You want to be accurate, you want to be correct, and it should be things that are, if they are open, they should be things that can be verified. I think one of the things you should show is your resourcefulness. You've encountered tough problems and solved them, and how did you solve them, and what kind of resources did you use, that kind of thing. And I'd also make sure that your CV or resume is kind of more action focused rather than just kind of the results. I know I saw a resume recently that said I increased sales by 30%. Well, I would argue that you did not increase sales by 30%. You took actions that may have resulted in that, and the actions are more interesting than the results in most cases. Only customers actually buy things. So what did you do that increased sales, or what do you think you did that increased sales? And if you are technical, I would try to have some references out there in the community whether that be, blog posts that you've written or articles you've written or code that you've written. I think that kind of demonstrates your capabilities well. So I would kind of point to those in your resume or cover letter. Skills should be backed up with examples in the materials you present that show proficiency in those skills. I think that just kind of backs up that you're not just throwing on something that you once took a course in. But taking a course in something is certainly valid as well. But you might want to demonstrate that by sharing your course examples. And then, finally, I would show some sort of passion for the industry. Just being here, I think, shows it. But put some words behind it. What are the things you've done above and beyond just taking courses? And I guess lastly, I would just throw in show a little bit of humanity and take that the right way. I would just try to show that you're a well-rounded person, that you have interests above and beyond academics and technical and things like that. It's interesting to me to know things that you might do in your spare time. With that, I'll close. Back to you, Megan.
Thanks, Paul. All right. David, are you ready to come on and talk a little bit about what you're looking for in your in your mentees?
Sure.
Awesome.
Hi, this is David Harris from Harvey Mudd College. I'm working in collaboration with Rose Thompson from Oklahoma State and a number of other co-authors. We've been working for the past 3 years on developing an open source RISC-V core. It's part of the Open Hardware Group, and developing a textbook around it. And we're excited to be taking it to the next step of getting it really ready for industrial level adoption. So that's known in the industry as Technology Readiness Level 5, and it comes with a pretty high standard of proof that the core does what we really say it does. So we are looking for mentee who would be interested in joining in the effort that many rest of us are working on, getting test coverage, code coverage, and functional coverage really good, and finding other ways to push on this and try to break it. So in terms of skill set that we're looking for, I think it's more important to have somebody who is a quick learner and has a track record of getting things done. No matter what background you have, you likely haven't used all the tools and specific details that will come up in this project, but that's not a showstopper. Rather, I would like to see that you're somebody who's been able to learn new tools, learn new techniques, and get to results. I think that's the short version of this. I'll drop in the chat a link to the GitHub repo, and everything we do is open source and goes back to the community.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Yeah, these are really it's just awesome to see the individuals that are these people have so much work that they're doing already and full-time jobs and are contributing in big ways to this ecosystem. So I'm really grateful to our mentors' time in doing this. So thanks so much to you all for participating in this program. I'll leave it open to any other questions. I know there's a lot of questions about the coding challenge. We'll just blame it on the holidays and having too much work. We are working on getting the coding challenges in there if they're not already. We are also working on showing the mentors who are attached to each mentorship listed in the LFX platform. So those will be up there shortly. I can even send an email to this group letting you know once that is published. I'll also send an email to this group with the recording of this video so you can see that as well. And with that, I'll leave it open to see if there are any last questions. But really, again, just going over the main thing is, you don't have to be ready to submit right now, right? We're not looking to see who submitted early or late. It doesn't matter. We're not looking at any of the applications until the 7th of February. So you have plenty of time to write your cover letter and your resume, and get prepared for the coding challenges. They're not going to take you days on end. So if you have the skills that are listed, you should have be able to get through those coding challenges easily. I love all this activity and how many people are interested in this. So I think what I'll do is create a Slack channel for anyone that's interested in mentorships to ask questions within there. That'll just make it easier than sending a lot of emails, because I'm sure if you have a question, somebody else also has that question. So I will start that Slack channel today. And as soon as this video recording is available, either today or tomorrow, I will send everyone in an email that'll come directly from this platform, that says, here's the video recording, here's the date we expect to have the coding challenges live. The mentors are live on this day. And also here's the Slack channel that everyone can communicate with. Because I think it's also just fun to have a Slack channel for everyone to communicate back and forth with. I don't see our third mentor. It's really late on his side of the world. So I will just leave it open if there's any last minute questions for me or for any of the projects specifically. Go ahead and throw those in the chat. Going to be unpaid a plus. Is willing to be unpaid a plus. Yeah, I think I wouldn't put that in your resume or cover letter, just because I think it's always, you always want to go for paid, right? So essentially what they do is they pick 3 or 4 people, like top people in order. And then once the first person accepts, then we offer unpaid to the next 2 or 3, however many the mentor feels comfortable taking on. I think it is a plus in the sense that if you are in those top people, then, you'll have the opportunity. But again, I would say, don't say that until you know that that's the only opportunity. I have had mentees turn it down, which I understand. Maybe they need that time to go get a full-time job. But I can say that, like, having these on your resume, I mean, we get hundreds of people that apply for each project. So if you are selected, whether you get paid or not, it is a great learning opportunity. And so I really encourage you to take that opportunity. Can we propose projects? Yes. So on the, I believe it's on the same page. So right now we're accepting, so if you look on the same page, but below it where it says summer 2024, there's a button to the right that says you can propose mentorships. So again, when you're proposing a mentorship, you're saying, I am a RISC-V International member at an organizational level, not an individual level. You need to be an organizational level member, because this is a member benefit. And then you are saying, I can be the mentor myself. So you have the skill set, you have a project. We get, a bunch of them submitted, and then we select the top 3 to 6, depending on how many are submitted and the amount of funds we have for the year. So you can submit a mentorship if you meet those requirements, and you can see all those requirements on the website that I listed. Correct. I think it's too late in their time zone to be on today. So we're not going to have the third project talking about there. But everything you need to know is really on the RISC-V careers page. The job board is what's going to show you everything you need to know about those projects. How many mentorship programs are available? For now, there's 3 mentorship programs available, and then we'll have more in the rest of the year. Oh, so you guys are, you're answering all the questions. I love it. Well, cool. I know we're over time, so I'll give, 1 more minute if anyone has other questions. Otherwise, as I said, I'll send you an email after this with information on the Slack channel as well as the recording of this video, in case you wanted to watch it again or you weren't able to be on at this time. And just it's really awesome to see how many people are here. Also, on the LFX page, when you actually get to the LFX page, there will be many more Linux Foundation projects that are posting their mentorship. So that's another good page to bookmark, is to go back there. No problem. I'm happy to take, Yep. So we'll do, you can do as many questions as you want in the Slack channel, especially, questions towards me or our mentors specifically. And yeah, just great to see so many people here. Thanks so much for joining. And I know it's late and early and middle of the night for some of you. So it's awesome to see your dedication. I don't have the link to the Slack channel yet. I will make it right now, and then send that out in an email out to everyone. If you have any questions, you can always email careers@risc5.org, and that'll come to me. But let's try to keep them in the Slack channel, because if you have a question, I'm sure that a lot of other people do. Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Bye.